to a really exciting repaint. This is one that I've been working on for ages for Fantastic Beasts, which is coming out soon. Very apt timing, I hope. And I was just really excited about, I really loved the film and I wanted to, you know, immortalise that with a doll. So let's get into it. So first we have to take off the face of this Deuce Gorgon doll. Now, I've already removed the hair, which was made of plastic, was pretty hard, but I would say just be careful with your knife and try to get leverage would be the best tips I have. We're a minute or so in and I haven't told you who it is. So I've got a little sketch on the right, Credence Barebone. So the reason I specifically did this character is because, surprisingly enough, it was actually my favourite character in the film. I was just really amazed by the acting. So I was thinking, oh, that's good acting when I was watching the film. But I think the biggest thing is when I saw Ezra Miller in, like, talking about the Harry Potter series and all that. He loved Harry Potter. Sorry, redoing an eye, by the way, here. He loved Harry Potter and he's just such a bubbly personality. But it's so different from the character. So I've tried to kind of get, you know, film 2 kind of Credence. So it's I think he's might have gained a bit more confidence. Like, he's out of the, like, harmful, abusive situation that he was in. I think he's going to be in a freak show, so maybe not so much. But I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. I have not watched a single trailer, so any information I have is completely accidental. And I'm just really excited to see what will happen to my poor baby boy. And it took quite a while to get this face done, back onto the repaint. Because the hard thing is, I'm not that good. Obviously, I've only started. I'm never really going to be someone who does realistic faces. So even though the face is based off Ezra Miller, which I'll be checking I'm saying his name right. Sorry. But I won't be able to recreate his face, so it's kind of an interpretation of his face, because he's got reasonably deep eyes, you know. I was going to say double eyelid, but, like, you know, hooded eyes like me. And also he has like rather nice bone structure, you know, for a dude. So it was very suited for the Monster High style, and I just kind of used some lines and stuff to bring his features out. So that's the main introduction. I'm generally just going to pipe up when there's something interesting happening, but otherwise just enjoy the relaxing process of Credence's face. P.S. That bluey mark on his cheek, I don't know, it was there from the beginning. Acetone did not take it off. I reckon it might be pen or something that's just sunk in, kind of like a Sharpie. But I figured it kind of looks like a bruise or dirt or something, and it's in character, so I think it just adds to the doll. Coming up now is probably accident number 1. So after I get all of this detailing done, I kind of dipped my pencil in the water. So it's a good technique, I think, used properly. You can see it's like really dark, really visible, However, because of that, it's kind of, it's not a pen obviously, but it's kind of more permanent, it's harder to erase, and because it's wet it's softer, so it's harder to get sharper lines, and I think that kind of limited it, so I couldn't really go with a lighter eye because the outside of the iris was so dark. And I knew I was going to kind of go for the dark browny eyes. I think I added some shades of green at one point, but it's a tricky... Oh, and the chin's way too dark. I should have done that more gradually rather than with the wet pencil, because people don't tend to have stark... Life is not a comic book, unfortunately, so there aren't stark lines, there's kind of just gradual colour gradients, and I kind of limited myself to one style by doing that. So like, I don't think his lips, because they're so soft and peachy, don't really match anymore. Also, sorry for the shooting quality. I would say it might seem like my ability to shoot these things has decreased, but no, I've just been doing this repaint for a month, more than a month. So it was after like Serenity, the unicorn, and the frog, but kind of he's been ready and like been the concept for a very long time. And so that's why I've got like my hair in the shot earlier, and I'll be randomly scooting off screen every once in a while, but I've tried to edit out a lot of the problems. I think you can kind of really see now at this point that he's kind of pulling together. I think he's got a bit of character in the eyes, and those little shine dots do so much. Like, this was, I did this at the same time as doing it for the My Little Pony, and my first time trying acrylic to do it, and I mean it's a kind of three-dimensional blob that I had to then work around rolling around on the table, but you are supposed to do it at the end. I was just a bit too enthusiastic with it. I think I've got a better technique at the moment. I'm kind of painting an acrylic painting using my otherwise used stuff. So with the face up mostly done, we move on to a wig. So this was a big focus for me. Mod Podge, off-brand from the works. It's a bit cheaper than actual Mod Podge. And I really was very enthusiastic about this wig. See, I figured because of the big hole in his head, it would be easier to make a wig than it would be to, you know, try to make a headpiece to then reroute, because I feel like it would be a bit flimsy. And I don't know, that's probably true, I reckon. But I don't think I'm going to be making wigs like this very often, because it was a very hard time. I think part of that is down to me not being a hairdresser or knowing what I'm doing, but I made a really good head cap using this, and I used I think 3 or 4 layers to get it. It gets really kind of rubbery texture through lots of layers. And then, as you can see, 3 layers in and dry, you kind of get the flippity flap of normal fabric, and then your hard little plasticky rubbery cap, which I've cut down to shape. And one of the big focuses was making sure it was kind of not too long, because he's kind of got, Credence has a weird hairstyle. I know that I think he has a different hairstyle in the new film, but I started this before that, so I didn't know that. I hadn't seen any pictures of Credence. And I mean, it's a classic character trait, really, that haircut. Here I am making some wefts, and I used Retro Dolls like black, and I probably had about 3 batches of hair that I made, and it was of very varying quality. See, I would say this is my like second best. This is the first wefts I made. So I just had the entire bundle in a bundle, and then that's the second layer, crunchy noises. And then I laid it out. I would say my third layer was slightly better because I portioned it. I like made it thinner so that kind of the glue can get in between all of the hairs and make sure it's really secure. And then you just kind of cut it down to size, start gluing it on. So as you can see, to begin with, I tried gluing it on with more of the Mod Podge, because the thing is, what you need is a waterproof glue, because you're going to be oil washing to kind of reshape the hair, because no one's hair like flares out like an early level wig. So this worked okay. If you have the time and patience and the pegs to like hold it down, you can do this, but in the next one, see, I'm using a all-purpose kind of super glue that is also, you know, water resistant when dry, so this is much faster, so you can kind of really hold it in place really well. And at the top, this is the tricky one, or it's actually quite easy. but it's tricky to know how much hair. I put too much hair in it. You kind of bundle it up together in a little spiral and then glue it at the top, and then kind of you need to find the middle of the part when you're boil washing. At the end of all that, you kind of get a metal head, is the best way to put it. So I spent a lot of time and a lot of time off camera making the haircut perfect, because it's just like vital for the character. So for this one, I kind of followed like where his forehead sits, which will be slowly getting higher, and kind of making a bowl at that level around the entirety of his head. And the character actually has like an undercut, so I could have used flocking to do that on my like wig cap, but instead I used just one thin layer of hair to try and create that effect, and I think I did way better than I thought I could, so I'm happy with it. So when I tried trying on the wig, I saw it's way too dark, so I had brown eyebrows, but this boy needs some dark eyebrows for his nice shiny dark wig. He's obviously getting a much better diet wherever he's living now, because it's really soft, really shiny, and his eyes and eyebrows need to represent that. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been 2 nail polish changes. But the brown one was first, and then this one's actually later on. You'll see it soon. An important thing for this time period is outfit. So there's a lot of pride in appearance and whatnot. They looked very dapper in those days. So I really think that shoes are the mark of a man. I love leather, but I didn't use it. This is my attempt to make some fancy Oxford style shoes. So I made a pattern first out of tape. The way I did that is I got some, I don't know what kind of tape this is, like masking tape, and I put a layer of masking tape the wrong way round, so the gluey side is up, and wrapped it around, and then tried it the other way round, and then drew on that, because it creates a nice surface where it's not sticking to the doll, and it's not sticking to your pen or your surfaces. Then, once you have your tiny patterns, you can cut it out of whatever material you're making it out of. I used some fun foam, some kids foam, once again from the works. Unfortunately, not an ad. And then I made some little base boots to like stick this all onto out of tape and toilet paper papier-mâché. This was probably my worst little shoes, but at least you can't see them. like these little base shoes. So once again I tried to use the decoupage liquid, but I gave up and used the super glue because it was much faster and worked much better. However, even then I did use it to kind of fill up some holes because the little bases I made out of polymer clay, which will appear eventually, weren't perfect. I made those two using a separate pair of little shoes, so I probably should have just kept the little shoes that the polymer clay bases came on. But I mean, for the fact that it's my first time making proper little shoes, I think it turned out okay. Now, if you have nice leather shoes, it's very important that you have nice, shiny, clean leather shoes. So I painted them with a layer of acrylic, so this was black with a bit of blue put in, but you can't really tell that. I should have put a higher proportion of blue, I think, to match his outfit, which you'll see. You can kind of see it on the base there, but that and then varnish. And then we've got the piece de resistance. So this is Credence finally in Diagon Alley, or more realistically I took a trip to the Shambles in New York. So he is in the magical world finally. He's got a little outfit that I made, a vest, some pants, a shirt, his shoes, and he's got a little moss friend, a fantastic beast made of moss, or realistically just a piece of moss that I picked up. That I was just like, he can do that with his hands. Maybe he can make friends with a little moss creature. So I'm really happy with this repaint, and I hope that Credence's little dreams are at least in some part fulfilled by my little doll getting into the magical world and hopefully being accepted for who he is. And thank you, come again, guys.